Are you tired of living a life you don't love? Do you crave more and find the pathway elusive? Well, welcome to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, the Intuitive Coach, and Dr. Pat, as we begin to discover your unique personal magic and easy steps to create that life you love, that life you crave. As a life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive, I am passionate about helping you tap into your intuition and learn to work with your inner resources to use your energy to create a life you desire. You don't have to be positive, stuff your feelings, or spend lots of time and money on self-development, because during this show, we'll show you the how and why. Ready to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead in the intuitive coaching way? Call in, write in, plug in. The Intuitive Coaching Show starts now.
Wow, everyone, we've got a show for you today. And, Ruth, let's talk about this for a minute. I don't know if many of us ever had the realization that we knew, one, that we had that magic within us, and then two, that we knew about using it. So today's show is what you might not know about using your magic. And part of this really is in the conscious creation for a life we want, right?
Right, exactly right. And it's way easier to do than we think. And we've been taught a lot of things about it that make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. But don't you find that when you talk to people, a majority of them believes in magic conceptually? And what I mean by that is something outside of themselves. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to talking with people one-on-one on, hey, do you know you have that ability? They're like, really? Me? What have you found, Ruth?
I have found that every year I get more capable of creating what I want. And it gets easier. And I do head slaps over and over again because I'm shocked by it over and over again. I used to feel like, oh, you have to hold your face just right and hold a vision just right. And you have all the apparatus inside you to do it just perfectly for you. And we really don't believe that, because most of us have been told over and over again that the way we are isn't perfect.
Yeah. And, let's talk about this in the context of manifestation and the law of attraction. And so what do I mean by manifestation? Okay, let me put it to you. I want this and I get it. Let's just talk about it. It's like desire, and yes, my desires are filled. In the simplest version of manifestation, because we have gotten way crazy with that word, but it's simple. It's simple. The law of attraction is also simple. Not easy, right? But this is what we're talking about. And yet, I like the head slap thing. I had such a visual of that with you because I do it too. Mine was more like banging my head up against the wall because I could never understand what I wasn't doing right.
Right. Right. And most of us don't. And we've been taught a lot of things that are okay things to be taught, but we are maybe, I would say we mostly leave things out that are very, very critical to the creation process.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about the things that we have learned. And, I've been doing this 20 years. So I have heard every version of what we should be doing, not be doing, how to do it, gone through the movie, The Secret, interview. I mean, I've watched it all and I've come out on the end with a new perspective. But I want to ask you, there are things we've learned and we do that actually disempower the process and therefore disempower ourselves and therefore disempower any chance we have of getting what we desire.
That's right. And I would start asking everybody just to remember what it was like when you were a little kid, because I'll bet you any money, I know I did, I created stuff all the time.
Oh, me too.
Didn't know that's what I was doing, but that pink hula hoop was behind my grandmother's couch for me when I got there, and I had been visualizing it for days. So you know how to do this already. And I think probably the unkindest Most harmful thing that most of us are taught is that we have to fix ourselves before we
Mm,
could create anything. You
yeah.
don't have to be fixed. In fact, what I've learned about magic lately has been all the stuff um, that tells you everything is okay, everything is just fine. And the way you are is perfect the way you are. And the way you should create is the way that you are, because that's your unique being. So those are two of the more kinder rules that I teach, that no, it really is okay. It really is okay to be you. And it really is okay not to fix yourself. You've got these tools. You just need to learn how to use them.
You know, Ruth, since I've been talking with you, I started a project and I want to give you credit for it. One of the things that I want to keep reminding people about your coaching practice is you are the intuitive coach. This is the intuitive coaching show. And this is such a critical component to how quickly we get to where we want to go. And the other day, somebody asked me a question. They said to me, "Can you pinpoint, Pat, all the points in time in your life where you followed your intuition?" And I thought about you and I thought, this is a great project. So I started to create a map, like literally handwritten map. And I ran out of space. Okay. And I ran out of space and I'm only at age 19. And so what I want to say about that is today we want to invite everybody here to step into that intuitive genius. And what you do as a coach is very unique. And I want to say this to people because there are coaches you can hire for a number of things. But how do you find somebody, especially like you, Ruth, who has built an entire craft on how to connect people with that innate source that we all have been given, and boy, we have forgotten about. And magic is a big part of it, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. And the reason intuitive coaching works is because all the good stuff, all the magic stuff is inside. And a lot of times we can't see it even inside ourselves. And it can help to have another set of eyes, another set of consciousness looking at things and helping us see what is there to be seen. So I can take the process of creating something that you want and I can look at it and see, is it really what you want, or is it something you've been told you want? Are you really being yourself here? And, is this something you can really have? And a lot of times we don't go far enough with what we want. We don't ask big enough. We don't shoot high enough. We go for something we think we can have instead of something that's really magic. And I think too that we all just, and I mean, I even do this when I watch magic unfold in front of me. I go, "Oh my goodness, this is so wonderful. That must have been a coincidence." So there's a tendency we have to discount ourselves when we are creating things through magic. And I'm just there to tell you, no, it works just fine. Everything is okay. And just the way you are is how you're supposed to be creating.
You know, I want to just talk about this because I don't think people understand the power of what you do and the work you do with your clients. And I really had to take a look. Now I am going to finish that project, but I'm going to need like butcher paper on the wall. And there's so much of this that I want to drive home to people. Let's just talk about what they can do to really tap into this. Now, here's an example. And I want you to run with us. I worked for corporate America and I achieved high success as an executive. It took me 13 years to get my undergraduate. But then when I reached success, I was influenced by my bosses, which were top, the president, vice president, to go get an MBA. So much so that Gary Handler, the VP in the organization, dished out 50 grand. And that was a lot of money back then. And here I was accepted into NYU MBA program. Now, in my gut, I'm marching to the orders, but in my gut, Here's what happened to me. I show up at the orientation. I should be so grateful for this, Ruth. I should be like, oh my gosh, I'm so special. I get there and I had a panic attack. I've never seen so many three-piece suits and I was dressed that way. And I got to tell you, I didn't stay for the orientation. I walked out, and the next day I walked into, I walked into my boss's office and said, I cannot do this.
And when we create, it can be that way. It could be that you would have toughed it out. I've toughed out a few things, and that's all to the good. That's not a bad thing. That's
It's not.
me using my will, you using your will to create something. Other times we can say, I'm just going to go with the flow. This isn't suiting me. I'm not going to do it. Or the universe is going to show me what I need to create, and I'll wait for that. But there's no law about whether you can use your own will or not.
Right.
And sometimes when something feels too inauthentic, we just have to say no. And that's what you did. You were true to yourself, and you got your education in different places.
I did. But let's talk about feelings, because this is critical. I would love for you to share some of the information to help you create the life we want. And for so many years, look, I'm not saying all over the world. I have two different cultures in my background. I have a Mediterranean and a South American culture, and we express ourselves probably more so. But my best friend comes from a different culture. Her dad was born in Norway. It's a different culture. So you can only imagine sometimes what dinner was like and how I was very flamboyant. But feelings is something we are learning to repress even more so now.
Yes, it's true. And we have been taught some very unhelpful things about our feelings with regard to law of attraction or manifestation. We've been told, don't have any bad feelings because you'll create bad things.
Exactly.
I have not found that to be the case at all. I have found that all the feelings are super helpful and very important. I need to have feelings that are good to tell me this is what I really want. I need to have feelings that are not so good to tell me stay away from that. I need to have feelings that are, I don't even know what they are. I just feel them in order to create my own unique energy. And it's all feelings, and you can't create without them. In fact, I think a lot of times when we try to visualize something, we're thinking of that picture, but it's not creating in a juicy way the way our feelings do. And when the feelings come first and the picture comes after, or the pictures or the movies or whatever it is, they usually manifest very quickly and I want to say truly. So true to your feelings, not true to what you're thinking, true to your feelings, true to my feelings.
Yeah.
Need those feelings.
You see, that's why I love talking with you on this. That's why I love this show and what you do, because it is so difficult to have the courage, as you've had, to come out and say, I am an intuitive coach. And by the way, I'm going to support you in your feelings, all of them, because you don't get that from coaches. I have 5 coaches. And, my spiritual coach will help me with that. But they're all about business. Mm-hmm. They're like business owners don't cry. I'm like, I cry. And so, but you see these things we've learned. So let's talk about how our authentic selves manifest. Because what you see, me, Ruth, you know me on, air, and off. This is me. The only time I'm different is when I'm playing my sport, but this is me. And it took a really long time for me to like being me.
I think probably most of us are deeply suspicious of the idea that we could be truly, truly, truly ourselves. I can just remember my older brothers telling me, are you sure you want to do that, Ruth? It's like, it's the only me I've got. But yes, it's really important to have those authentic feelings and to create in a way that is authentic. And you were created as source, and we don't talk about that too much. But if you're source, you need to be creating the way you create. And also, if you consider it just for a minute, if you create something that suits your feelings, it's going to feel good to you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be difficult. It's going to be something that you're going to appreciate and you're going to like. And in fact, I would challenge anybody listening to to just call a moratorium on making their feelings wrong for right now and see what happens. Because I know that the minute I started looking at one of my creations and wondering why I couldn't get it, and I just let myself feel what I felt, it started to manifest. It started to seem true. A couple of hours later, it started to be true. I started living up to the creation, and all I did was just say, I'm accepting these feelings. I'm a little distressed that I can't create this right now. Oh, there's this belief I have that says I can't create this because it went wrong one time. I own all the feelings I have, and I'm going to pursue this goal too, furthermore, in a way that is just suited to me, not something that you would do, something I would do. And all of a sudden, bang, I've got a creation. And then bang, I've got another creation. And then bang, I've got another creation. And it's lots of fun. It's
It
lots of fun
is.
when you get it right.
I love that you said it's fun. It is. I was talking to my coach the other day, Howard, 87 years old, and we go back a long time playing the sport. And we were talking about a woman that I used to play all the time, Alice Green, right? And we were talking about her dad. And so here's the short story. We were talking about, I said, Howard, I figured out now why. No matter how hard I tried, I always dreaded to get Alice in the first round of play. And he looked at me and I said, yeah, go check the records. I would always get Alice in the first round of play. And I realized because I so focused on the agony of getting Alice in the first round of play, and I manifested Alice in the first round of play. And I said, when I discovered that just in time for a major championship. But you see, nobody was talking about the law of attraction, but we do that, right? Now, what was my feeling? My feeling was, I'm going to play her hard to play. I've never beat her before. I'm scared.
Among other things.
Among other things. Finish the sentence. Oh, and therefore, I'm not going to beat her today. And when I realized that last part, see, that's what we do, isn't it? That's what we do. Yeah. But let's talk about how we can manifest from a pure point of being authentic. And I think authenticity is like on a scale. It's like the 50 Shades of Grey. Remember that movie? There are 50 shades of authenticity, and sometimes we all get confused because somebody wants us to be pure perfection all the time. Talk about authenticity and the key to helping us manifest, please.
Okay, yeah, pure isn't going to happen. Perfection isn't going to happen. But authenticity is the way to create. And Barbara Sher, who was a coach who taught people how to get what they wanted, not through manifestation, but just through pulling it together. But she said that authenticity is the genius that makes what you want good. The authenticity is the genius that creates for you. So no matter what way you're creating, and sometimes you're going to have to work hard, and sometimes you're going to have things drop in your lap, and sometimes it's going to be a mix of both. But if it's your authenticity, it will happen the way it's supposed to, and it'll happen in a way that's comfortable and very appealing to you and feels good to you. I think I'm repeating myself here, but I'm thinking of an example a couple of weeks ago when I was in a class, and there were 1,200 people in the class, and I'm an introvert, and I don't do well with 1,200 people after a couple hours, and so I went and hid for a while. And I decided I'm going to do this just exactly the way I want. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to go hide and sit in a chair and take a little nap and come back. And I couldn't believe how well I did in that class, how everything I planned to create just created. And I had people coming to help me. I had lots and lots of hits, lots and lots of scores, lots and lots of things create just the way I wanted them to, way more so than I ever thought I could have done. And the whole thing, it's all energy. If I'm in a place where my energy is good, I'm going to create well. And if I'm in a place where my energy is I'm just too tired from being around too many people for too long, then I'm not going to create. I will create, but I won't create as well as I would like to. So authenticity is really the way to do it. And if you assume that you're created by the creator to be on this planet creating things, then guess what? You owe it to yourself and us all to be authentic.
Yeah. And can we just put an exclamation point on that? Because when we say created by the creator, be creative, there is a phrase that we need to really talk about, and that is in an infinity state. There is no limit on our creativity. There is no limit on how much we can create. There's not a quota that I get 10, you get 12. And so there's this idea sometimes that if I get this good thing from the creator, I've used up my resources. But all of that is what we've been told or taught. What you're talking about is there is no limit except the limit we put on ourselves. And here are the tools that you can use to get there.
Yes, that's pretty much true. Although I would say that there are other reasons to get a coach to help you
Oh, you
with,
have to get a coach. Oh,
because
yes.
there if you're living in the wrong situation or if you're working in a
Oh,
grossly wrong job for you, it's going to affect everything you do. It's going to affect your ability to be authentic every single day. So,
yeah.
you may have to do other things to get yourself into a good situation so that you can create as you choose.
Yeah, now let me really talk to that point. I don't want anybody to think that I'm sitting here without having a lifetime of coaching or a lifetime of I had a great therapist when I lost my job. Right now, I have 5 people I work with. Why? Because I know what's important to me and what I've been called to do. I have never been as introverted as I am. I've never really been able to achieve success on my own, whether it's from a mentor, a boss, from you. And I think that's so important to drive home, especially to you ladies out there. I just want to say this. I know we do a lot of things. Sometimes it's okay to get a coach. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Right.
let's just
People
talk to
work
this
with
point. Yeah, talk to this point right here. You don't have to be down and out in New York like I was. You can be at a high level of achievement and it's okay to want more, right, Ruth?
It is. And I have people work with me who are just having trouble with one little thing. I have people work with me who can't manifest their way out of a paper bag. We all come from it, come to it from different places and with different experiences, or there may be certain things that you can do better than others. And, it can help to have somebody put their eyes on what you're creating, no matter how you're doing it.
Mm. Well, Ruth, this is so powerful. I really hope people reach out to you because we're at a point now where it is almost impossible to achieve without understanding the power of intuition and authenticity. We're just being bombarded every day, every minute. I had to turn off 3 apps this morning. How do people find out about you? How can they work with you? And what's your personal message? What would you like to leave us with today?
Okay, the easiest way to get a hold of me is www.intuitivecoach.info. So that's www.intuitivecoach.info. My message is everything is just fine. It really is. Take it from somebody who's a little farther down the path and learning this stuff that it really everything is just fine and you were meant to create happily and enjoyably.
Wow. Thank you, Ruth. Again, for those of you that missed any part of this, please go back. What you might not know about using your magic, it's all weaved throughout here. And also, Ruth, you reminded us that a key component of this is to be our authentic, true selves. Thank you so much for that message today.
Thank you.
Let's take a short break, everybody. Thank you, Emily. We'll be right back.
Thank you for tuning in to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, and Dr. Pat. Tune in and watch next time for easy steps for creating a life you love. Every first Thursday of the month, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 Eastern, on transformationtalkradio.com to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead the intuitive coaching way. Discover your inner magic and how easy it can be without censoring yourself or spending years on self-development. Move toward what you desire right now, the intuitive coaching way. For more information, connect with me visiting intuitivecoach.info.